let's remind ourselves what this podcast is all about, actually.
Yeah. Right. For the listeners, if you're new to this, Tom and I, this is an American football podcast where we talk all things American football, especially NFL. We're going to go on a franchise-by-franchise basis, but it can be anything about that franchise. The fans, plays, coaches, Super Bowls, stadiums, quirks.
Events,
anything.
Personalities,
anything.
Fans.
Anything.
Yeah.
And what I do is Tom plans a load of stuff because he's very thorough and very professional. And then I try to wing it for as long as possible.
Okay.
Until producer Reese says, cut.
It seems you can do anything in American football short of using a Tommy gun, so you mustn't expect me to explain the rules. Players wear so much clothing, it's a wonder they can move at all.
Go out there and play this ball game like I know you can play it.
This is Any Given Wednesday, the NFL podcast for the bright-eyed rookie fans who still doesn't know their tight end from their defensive tackle, and the gnarly seasoned pro who's loved the sport for as long as Larry Zonka's had a moustache. I'm Tom Parry. I'm someone who falls squarely in the first training camp. I've been into the NFL for the last decade, but I still wrestle with the weird stigma of being a British person trying to talk about American football, because it's weird, isn't it?
It is weird.
It's not easy. When you say to someone, I like football, and they say, oh no, you have to say American football.
Yes.
And it sounds weird when you're trying to do it.
Yeah.
It never.
There's no easy way around it. There's no.
Well,
you know.
There is.
But I think you should change yourself there, Tom. I think you call yourself a bright-eyed rookie, but to use an expression that I don't know, dubious origin. You've boned up in the last couple of seasons, haven't you? I mean, you're known for it. You've been boning up for ages, but you've really boned up the last couple of years, pal. You know your stuff.
Well,
I think in modern NFL, I think you know as much as I do. I'm possibly more than I do.
Well, that's where this podcast comes in, I think, because what this podcast is trying to do for you, listener, and for us, is how can we understand and appreciate the modern game by learning about this sport's past. And that's where you come in. You're a veteran NFL fan, hewn from the days when players were really allowed to tackle. When the call of roughing the passer would mean someone was on their way to the morgue.
Oh, yes.
He's a man built for and of those glorious days of yesteryear. He's Hollywood handsome and cowboy tough.
Oh,
Mr.
come on.
Mike Bubbins.
Yes,
come on.
Tom Parry. This is Tom Parry. He is if I'm Roger Craig, he's my Tom Rathman. He's the big bruiser. Does all the hard work, puts in the hard yards, lets me live off the scraps. He decimates defenses. And I just sneak in behind him. Oh.
And that's what we're going to do each week. We're going to be getting to know the NFL through looking back in its past and finding out how.
And that could be last season, mate. It could be 1922. It could be 2024.
Well, I think that's important, and hopefully at the end of each episode we'll touch a little bit on what's currently going on as well, because the season's about to start, and one of the things I can't get my head around with the NFL is the wait that you have to go through every year between seasons. And then when it comes around, oh my God, it feels so good.
We are also, I mean, the NFL is my favorite league. American football is my favorite sport, but we're both sports fans. And if you're a British sports fan, for instance, watching association football, aka our football, aka soccer,
as we all call it,
it's almost a never-ending season.
Yeah.
Cricket, the same. You follow it around. I always say the cricket follows the sun. So then you go and play in India, and you play in the West Indies, and you play in Australia, you play South Africa. So that never ends. That season goes on 12 months of the year. Cycling, athletics. But you think of the NFL. But even American sports, baseball's got a long season, hockey's got a long season, basketball's got a relatively long season. Football, you just wait and wait and wait for 7.5 months, 7 months.
Yeah.
And there it is, bang.
I've become addicted to the off season as well now. Like when the draft's happening, I've been listening to podcasts about the draft.
They do. They make films about the draft and make them exciting and good.
Yeah.
If you try to make it a British sports film about picking teams,
Transfer Deadline
you
Day.
can leave your
movie.
senses. A 90-minute movie where Kevin Costner lines up all his mates against a wall and just picks them for a game of football, which is what Draft Day is.
One of the best sports movies ever. Draft Day.
Combine's great.
It has its knockers, Draft Day, and I'll say this: I watched it.
Not this pair.
I watched it. Yeah,
No
two big knockers.
We are not a pair of knockers when it comes to Draft Day, mate.
I watched Draft Day the week my daughter was born, and I sat up with her. I watched it about 4:00 in the morning and wept like a baby. It got me right where it was pure.
Yeah, I mean, part of that is in the telling where you mentioned that.
There was a lot going on.
You hadn't slept for several weeks at that point, did you?
There was a lot going on, yeah.
That's great. They do it so well, mate. And there's, do you know what I love about it? There's like a league system. So they ticks all your league boxes. And then you got a playoff and a cup. Basically, it's like the Champions League and the FA Cup all rolled into one.
And I'll tell
when
you what,
when you're the NFL champion, you are the NFL champion.
Yeah, that's it. They do a hell of a lot right. I will say that about the NFL. And I was trying to explain this to my nephews the other day on holiday, because we're Wolves fans over here, and so like.
By the way, if you're an American, that's Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Yeah, Wolverhampton Wanderers. This is our soccer team. Yeah,
don't like feral dogs.
And
huge fan of Wolves.
Huge fan of the wild animal Wolves. Like our star striker is about to be poached by Newcastle for 60 million quid, for example, just because he had a good season last season. They're going to come in with all this money, Saudi money, and take the player away from them. And that kind of stuff just doesn't.
You're going to nick their best player, so don't worry.
Well, that's it. Everyone's nicking their best players with loads and loads of foreign money, and that kind of thing just can't happen in the NFL. There's like the system protects against it.
Well, we should do a pod on talk about the salary cap and the draft, because I think the way the NFL is set up to be competitive is fantastic.
Yeah,
I think it's a real strength. Obviously, people over this side of the pond, we struggle with no promotion, no relegation, and ring fence leagues and stuff. But if you do it well, all those teams can have success. Not all the time, obviously, that's the nature of it. And some teams will, go through longer barren periods than they should. Mention only.
Yeah.
Well, that's what alienates certain fans.
We'll get to the Jets at some point, I'm sure.
We will. We will. We got to do a Joe Namath episode.
Yeah, we will. Of course, we will. So we're going to get to this week's topic shortly. Before we get into it, I thought I'd just remind our listeners of the kind of service we can provide for them. If you've got a question that you think is too stupid to ask about American football, this is the place that you could ask it safely. 100%. Okay, if you're a Brit just getting into the sport, or if you're someone from the outside looking in and you think, I've got this question, I don't know who I can bring it to, there's not going to be any judgment here. Okay, so bring your questions.
If you're a soccer or rugby fan or cricket fan and the NFL is a bit of a guilty pleasure and you can't broach the subject with certain members of your group, talk to us. I love Eurovision, right? It's just hard to find blokes I can talk to about Eurovision.
Yeah.
My friend Griff loves Eurovision. So, he's my Eurovision.
Have you ever contemplated entering, Bubs?
No, I'd love to go to watch, though.
Yeah, okay.
Apparently, according to Griff, you go and watch the full dress rehearsal the night before, and that's better than the actual show.
Okay.
That's when all the judges' scores are collated. But I digress.
Yeah, I mean, we could be the first American football podcast to bring you an episode live from the Eurovision Song Contest.
Oh, my God. Talk about ticking all my boxes.
I don't mind that.
If I could go back in time to do that with James Garner, that would be my perfect day.
Yeah. Okay. That's it.
By the way, I'm not saying I'm excited, Tom, right? I've had my hair cut for a podcast today.
Today?
I had my hair cut for this. Yeah.
Oh, Bubs, it's
I've gone
good
grey
as well. Yeah.
I'm wearing a Nitsky shirt, obviously. With a sort of Zonka moustache.
Yeah.
I've mascara the moustache, but I've let the hair go natural. Because you see Zonka these days, he's silver hair, isn't he? But what do you think of the silver hair with the moustache?
You wear it so well, Bubs.
Thanks.
This feels like the look you've been kind of destined for, basically.
I think so.
And for the audio listeners, those of you that aren't, on YouTube or looking at the clips, get along and have a look, because if you were to imagine kind of a veteran NFL player from the glory days of the late 70s or something, you will be imagining what Mike Bubbins is looking like.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad is the spitting image of the love child of Dick Butkus and Larry Zonka.
Names to conjure with.
You know what I mean? And if you don't know those names, stick with us, because you'll find out at some point.
You really will.
You really talk about them, I guarantee it.
They're names I didn't know until I met you, Bubs. I can tell you that for nothing.
I got to tell a quick story. I was going to say this for a potential. Oh no, I'll save it if we do a perfect season pod. I'll save it for that. But I've got a cracking anecdote about that. But I'll save it for another time, Tom.
Okay, great.
We're talking about our favourite team.
Yeah. Well, we'll get on to the topic of the day, but before that, let's just throw out for our correspondents. So if you've got a question about the NFL you want to ask, get in touch.
Yes.
If you want to tell us about how you got into the NFL, what was your route into American football? Where are you from? Where are you listening in the world? And how did you get into American football? Get in touch. We want to hear from you as well, because a lot of people are finding their way to this sport now.
Why is your team your team?
Your ways. And I love this one. Yeah. Why is your team your team? The more obscure reasons, the better. Or is it like normally it's to do with, my cousin had a jumper, stuff like that, isn't it?
Love all that. Yeah. Yeah.
Or like, my brother's friend had a
I've always had a
pencil
soft
case.
spot, even though I'm a Packers fan, for the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day when Channel 4 started showing football, the NFL on Channel 4 in the early 80s, Woolworths did a limited range of NFL kit.
Yeah, yeah.
And Mum went down to get me a kit bag for school, Green Bay Packers kit bag, but they were awful in the early 80s. I couldn't get a bag. So she brought me home a Seattle Seahawks kit bag. Great. Silver and blue. I can see it now.
Great.
I've always had a soft spot for the Seahawks because of that.
Yeah. I have a soft spot for the Seahawks because of the name, the Legion of Boom.
Couldn't he?
That was a name for was it for their offensive line, was it? Or what was do you remember who the Legion of Boom were?
It was the O-line, wasn't it?
I think so.
Let's just get this wrong. If we're wrong, tell us. We're used to it.
Yeah. Absolute sucker. I mean, like the one thing the NFL does better than...
I like the fact they brought in rugby coaches to teach them how to tackle, and then they won a Super Bowl.
It's a cool place to come from, let's be honest. It's a cool place to come from. The one thing the NFL does so well is nicknames, let's be honest. And like things like that, things like the Legion of Boom. Oh, yes, please. Yeah. You don't get that in soccer, in British soccer. No one says like, oh, the Arsenal back four, Tony Adams, Lee Dixon. Yeah, we're talking about, we call them the ironing board or whatever it is. It's like they're just like the Arsenal back four. That's what they were. It's like, we don't do that. So yeah, get in touch. We're on TikTok, Any Given Wednesday Pod. We're on Insta, Any Given Wednesday Pod. We're on YouTube, Any Given Wednesday, the NFL podcast. And
producer Reese has been pulling the stops, so fair play to him.
Yeah, I mean, we're organised. We're organised this time round. And also, if you've got anything you want to say to us, if you want to leave us a voice message,
this is nice. This.
Then you go to www.speakpipe.com. Don't go to SqueakPipe, that's a different thing. www.speakpipe.com
Can we just put that
/ Any Given Pod. Yeah, we'll stick all the links around in the
Put the links on the bottom. They say links on bio. Is that what the kids say?
Yeah, we'll stick the links in the bio, but you can get in touch, leave us a message about any of those subjects. We want to hear from you. And then the final service that we started to do that I really liked.
Tom, if I can just 1 second, I hate to do this.
No, go on.
But I think what we should do with those, and we've talked about this, is if you send in something that is interesting, rather than just us listen to it and talk about it, let's play it at the end of the pod.
Beautiful. Yeah. Lovely. Over the credits.
Do you want to be heard on Any Given Wednesday pod? Get in touch.
The final service that I really liked that we were providing was
OnlyFans.
Are you teamless? Are you looking for a franchise? Because we will. You tell us a few things about yourself.
Green Bay.
Promise. Get in touch. Tell us the kind of thing you're into. Tell us a bit about your personality, and in a kind of speed dating kind of format,
Here we go.
We'll match you up with the right franchise.
Before we get on to today's pod, I've mentioned the Seahawks.
Yeah.
If now someone said to you, Tom, good news and bad news. Bad news is the Green Bay Packers no longer exist.
Yeah.
Even though they're the only publicly owned franchise in the NFL. Good news is you can pick any other team. Who would you like to support?
I have a soft spot for the Ravens, which I know isn't going to please you.
Not well.
And I like the Chargers as well.
Yeah, I like them.
I went to San Diego years ago when they were still there, and I just really liked their vibe. And they just seem like they're like the good guy. They feel like good guys. I don't know about it, but I feel like good guys. And then the final contender would be the Steelers. So they're the three: the Ravens, the Chargers, and the Steelers. Steelers are just fucking cool.
I would say for me, the Raiders. I love that attitude. I'm sure we'll talk about the 70s and 80s Raiders at some point.
Yes.
Any franchise that's now in Las Vegas and has got Elvis murals at the stadium is a big thumbs up from me. So, and also, I'm also the Steelers. My sister lives in Pittsburgh. My brother-in-law and my nephew live in Pittsburgh. I've been to see the Steelers play. It's a big sport town. They love football. They're football mad about the Steelers in Pittsburgh. So yeah, that'd be right up there.
Have you got a terrible towel?
Only after a bath. Depending.
It's quite a personal question, I suppose. Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
I haven't got a terrible towel. No. I have got a bandana, which I can't see me ever wearing.
No. Not when your hair's as good as that. But
it's a shame to waste it.
Send me the bandana. I'm the one who needs a bandana.
Do you want to see the bandana? I'm your man. You look like Tony Mandarich. Remember him? Before your time.
No, who's Tony Mandarich?
For a bandana. I think the Boz did as well. Anyway.
You look a bit like Hulk Hogan if you put a bandana on, Bubs.
That's what I'm going for. Yeah, I want to look like Hulk Hogan. Don't go any further. We're apolitical on this podcast as well.
Yeah, of course.
Come on. Even Hulk Hogan. Sadly, no longer with us, Scott.
Sadly, no. R.I.P. to Big Man. Let's get into this week's topic. Now, cards on the table. I'm a Green Bay Packers fan. You're a Green Bay Packers fan.
It's true, Tom.
We decided to kick things off with a Green Bay Packers episode, but trying to look specifically at their stadium, Lambeau Field. One of the most famous, if not the most famous, ground in all of the NFL.
Yeah.
It is the second largest. It is the oldest continual operating stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people say Soldier Field's older, but they haven't been playing there for as long. The Bears. And outside of, I think, Fenway Park and Wrigley Field, it's the gold standard of sports stadiums in America.
Yeah, I got all of that.
So it's worth giving proper time to. It's not just because we're Green Bay Packers fans. There are few places where the game is played that has that kind of history still attached to it. And crucially, Bubs, you have just been there, so that's a plus as well.
And you know what? I've been a Packers fan since about 82, 83. I'm wearing a Nitschke jersey, which I bought when I went to go and see the Packers play live for the first time. I saw them in Toronto in about 97, a preseason game against the Bills.
Wow.
I saw them play in Pittsburgh when I went to go and see my sister. I saw them play in Wembley, of course. Into the Spurs ground.
Tottenham.
Yeah,
Spurs ground.
Seasons ago. But I'd never been to see them at Lambeau Field until last Thanksgiving, where my mate Dan organised a trip over to Green Bay for 18 of us. Not
Wow.
just Packers fans, Dolphins fans. They play the Dolphins on Thanksgiving.
Couldn't stretch to 19, could you?
Well, I did ask you, mate, but if you remember, you got a young family, and you said we'll definitely do it next time. You know,
Can I also say one of the reasons I'm so excited that this podcast is back up and running is because in about 12 months' time, I'm going to be able to say to Jane, "Look, it's for work.
Babe, I got to. I don't want to go.
It's for
I
work."
don't want to go. I was absolutely buzzing, right? So the trip was all arranged, it was all happening. I got some boys who come around here on a Sunday to watch the NFL, my Sunday night club lads. We all went. So all of us met the boys. It was just class, man. We had a 2-hour trip up to Heathrow on the minibus.
That's the highlight bit, is it? Honestly, that trip to Heathrow. Oxford services. You wouldn't believe it.
Were first class. It really was. Oh, there's inflatable pillows for the plane and everything.
Do you know what's good?
I bought a folding chair. Never going to use
it. My postman is a Green Bay Packers fan, and he brought a parcel around this afternoon, and I popped out to chat to him, and he told me about going to Lambeau last season, and he's off to see the Bengals there this year. He's going to see Packers Bengals, and I do feel like everyone's gone to Lambeau Field now. Even my postman's talking about it.
So we got to Chicago. They don't fly to Green Bay direct. So we flew to Chicago. Yeah. We get on a bus. We've chartered a coach to get us up to Green Bay. It's about 3.5 hours maybe to Green Bay. Driven by a bloke who I think he must have been getting paid for the job, not by the hour. Because he wanted to get from Chicago to Green Bay and back in as short as time as possible. He had his foot down all the way, right? And the heaters had broken in the bus.
Right.
So and it was, I suppose, an hour, probably minus 20 Celsius, whatever that is in Fahrenheit. So we get to Green Bay on the Wednesday. But as you get into Green Bay, it's so weird, mate. It's very flat. Like I live in Wales, right? There's mountains everywhere. You can't really see the horizon. It's very, very flat. You're in this low-rise city of probably less than 100,000 people around that sort of mark.
100,000 people, yeah.
And that's in the greater area, that's not down.
I mean, that is the thing to stress about Green Bay. For those listeners that don't know what is unusual about the Green Bay Packers, is Lambeau Field holds 80,000 people.
Yeah.
That is 80% of the city's population can fit into the stadium.
Yeah.
So it's like, obviously when you're talking about Lambeau Field, you're talking about something like Old Trafford being in the middle of, I don't know, Pwllheli or, like in rural Norfolk. It is in the middle of farmland.
Well, because it's a bowl stadium, right? So it would have been, when they built it, they dug down. So it would have been the way they built stadiums a lot of the time over there to save money and to save heating and things, is they would dig a hole in the ground. So the pitch to the bottom of this hole, and then you've got the great seating in the, and then they built them on the outside of a hole. So it's a lot bigger than it looks. It's impressive from the outside, but it's a lot bigger inside, like a TARDIS, right? Yeah. So we sort of get into town, and then you see it, and then you start seeing all the street names. They're all named after Packers luminaries, right? And then I saw it, and I was like, oh my god! And we stayed in a hotel. If you stay in Green Bay, you'll be staying near to Lambeau Field, right?
Yeah.
So, but we must have been turn out the hotel, take a left, and there's the stadium, probably 200 yards away, right? Go to the stadium, take a right, and we're at Anduzzi's sports bar in Green Bay, right? So on the Wednesday, we go to the sports bar. We have a fantastic night in there. There's a DJ playing some tunes. One of the boys says, I'm going to ask him to play a few songs for us. I mean, they're not doing requests. They did do requests.
Yeah.
So it was like having our own jukebox all night. And at the end of the night, and we have these, it's worth Googling at some point. Google the Anduzzi's Bloody Mary, right? To see what they call a Bloody Mary, right?
Yeah.
We had a fantastic night in there. The locals couldn't have been nicer. Everyone was Packers fans. They were just lovely in there. And then at the end of the night, we sang the Welsh national anthem, which blew their minds. And then cherry on the cake, we sang the American national anthem
Great.
in like 3-part Welsh harmony. So we could do no wrong, right? So, but then the next day,
all the cliches of Welshmen are so true, aren't they? They're so there for a reason.
Cliches for a reason.
We've had a couple harmonising the American national anthem at the end of the night.
On Thanksgiving Day morning, we're in the hotel, they're having breakfast.
Yeah.
And there's a couple there with they had a Welsh flag. I said, where are you from? And they were from a place called Wales, Wisconsin. I said, no. So about 30 miles from Green Bay is a place called Wales, right?
Great.
So we went and got them. We had a spare like a jersey from the tour. So we went and got them like a jersey to keep. Anyway, so a Thanksgiving night. In the morning, we just walked around the stadium, and it was just blowing my mind. And the statues everywhere.
Yeah.
Bart Starr's here, Ray Nitschke's over there. Then there's Brett Favre. Outside the stadium, there's the man himself. There's Vince Lombardi. There's Curly Lambeau. We're like, oh my God. But it's like red brick. It looks traditional, even though it's new. All that bit's new.
Yeah, yeah.
So we did a couple of circuits of it. We have a nice day, and we went to the bar they built where the Packers used to play on High School Field.
Right. Yeah.
So it's all like I said. It's either a quick cab ride or it's walkable. But then the night, mate, it was all my 40 years being a Packers fan. Right. It's Thanksgiving Day. Right, it's dark. It's a nighttime kickoff. The Packers are the game, that everyone's watching that night on TV. We walk into the stadium. We're on the very, very top. If you look at the Lambeau Field, you'll see other side of the screens. There's an extra row of bleachers. The very top row of that, on the very end, is where we were. Right, we couldn't get any higher up.
Wow. Well, so you're on the back row of Lambeau Field.
The very, very back row, above the top tier. There's another 2 small sections. So we're on the top of that, right?
The VIP area, right?
What's that?
That's the VIP area. Yeah. That's where all the important people sit.
So we're in the concourse. And when you're in any sort of stadium concourse, you get glimpses through the doorway onto the field, right? And I could see, I thought, oh God. And then the boys took a little video. Maybe we can link it to this, I don't know.
Yeah, we should, yeah.
Of me walking through for the first time. And I shit you not, Tom. I hate to swear. It just started to snow.
Oh, beautiful.
So it's jet black. The snow's been lit up by the floodlights. So on Thanksgiving Day, and I walk out and there's Lambeau Field packed to the rafters, right?
Amazing.
And it's like 20 degrees below freezing. I thought, this is what it's all about.
Yeah.
And it was just something else. And then it was, won the game.
Incredible.
Won the game, which is a huge bonus, because the 3 times I'd previously seen the Packers play, they'd lost. But I thought, oh God, this is a jinx. And then they beat the Bills, I think. But
let's talk about for the uninitiated what it is that makes, like you said, like this is it, and that the Lambeau experience. What is it that makes it that? Is why is Lambeau Field unique? So to understand that, you kind of have to understand the story of the Packers, don't you? Because
to an extent,
the Packers is one of the biggest NFL franchises in the smallest market in the sport. It's such an anomaly.
Yeah.
It's
the only
a franchise
in the 4 major sports in America that doesn't have an owner. So it's owned by the people of Green Bay.
It's owned by the people of Green Bay, and the city built the stadium. I read something the other day that was incredible to me, which was when they needed to revamp the whole stadium, because it was first built in 1957, like when they had to completely revamp it in 1999, the city voted on a sales tax where they voted that for the next 15 years, whenever you buy something in Green Bay, there'll be a tax on it, and that tax will go to building the stadium.
Yeah.
And the city voted to pass that tax into law so that the community was paying in to build the stadium.
I've never been one of these weirdo xenophobic fans of any sport that says that people in Sri Lanka can't be Arsenal fans, or people in, of course you can. Doesn't matter where you're from, right? But when you're in Lambeau Field, Okay, I mean, we had a bunch of Welsh boys that were there, and a couple of English lads, but we had to sort of go into almost like a lottery system to get those tickets from a season ticket holder.
Yeah.
And they can only put it, I think they can only put the season tickets up once or twice a season. So it's hard to get tickets. Because everyone in there is a flipping Packers fan. And the vast majority of them are season ticket holders. And the vast majority of them have been on the waiting list since they were born. Because the waiting list is now like 40 years to get a season ticket.
And it's not like, say, if you come from Chicago,
Yeah,
you could be into the Bears, but you could also be into the Cubs. You could also be into the Bulls. It's like your kind of, your city is spread across a bunch of sports, a bunch of franchises, and things to do. Whereas Green Bay, there is the Green Bay Packers. That
well,
is.
we were there for a week, just about, right? But we spent probably 5 days of that in Chicago. And went to go and see the Blackhawks play, went to go and see the Bulls play, went to these great bars, had some superb pizza, amazing parks, all this sort of stuff, right? We only sort of budgeted 2 days to be in Green Bay, really, 2 full days. So I thought, well, we all want to go to see the game, and we all want to go to the stadium. If you go to Green Bay, you must do the stadium tour of Lambeau. It's a fantastic tour, right? We all wanted to do that. But then after that, and I'm not knocking the place. There's nice places to drink and eat, and there's nice things to do in parks, I'm sure. But I mean, it's a small town. You're in small town America that just happens to have an enormous NFL stadium in the middle of it.
So that's what really interests me about the Packers is when you think about being let's say you're Matthew Golden, right? Who's this young wide receiver. He was one of the best wide receivers in the draft. He's like 19 years old. The world is at his feet. He is going to be a 19-year-old millionaire. He's going to be, women are going to want to hang around with him. He's going to want to spend his money and have a good time. He's going to go to the clubs and stuff. And he gets drafted by the Green Bay Packers. Yeah. It's like, you kind of think of all the kind of places to go. It is quite an interesting culture thing for if you're like a young superstar to be in that kind of environment.
Just that, because of a couple of little TV things and bits and bobs that I do now. If I walk around Cardiff, which is probably 300,000 people, 350, I'll get stopped quite a bit. People ask for selfies. It's very nice, and they have a chat with me, and it's all good, because I do a TV program that's watched by a few people and a podcast that's listened by a few people, and I live in a small size city.
Yeah.
If you play for the Green Bay Packers, right, you are playing for certainly, it's got a definite claim to be the most, everyone's sort of second team. So probably the biggest team in America, right? In the most watched league in America, in probably one of the richest leagues in the world, right? And you're living in a town that's like where I'm from Barry.
Yeah.
Where'd you go? What can you do? You can't go anywhere.
Yeah,
in a good way, and people love the Packers. It is nuts. The tailgate like a religion. Was fantastic. Yeah. I said, I will definitely go again. We'll go again, me and you, mate. Right?
Oh,
I would advise against going in the end of November because I've never ever, and I used to live in Montreal. I've never been that cold. It was next.
So and let's talk about that. So that is something that sets Lambeau Field apart from a lot of places. Is its nickname is the Frozen Tundra. Oof. That is for a reason. Is because the climate in Green Bay from November onwards for the rest of the season is almost unplayable.
And they love it. And do you know what?
And they love it.
Home field advantage.
So many.
They've had the money
to
put a dome on there. They've got money to put an artificial field on there. They don't want it.
Yeah.
They want it mud and they want it open. There's no shelter. It's not like a European football stadium where you've got a bit of a roof and then you've got the field open. The whole thing is a bowl. It's open to the elements.
So
and
it's I
said to one of the boys, he said, "What should I wear?" I said, "Mate, everything you've got." Because I remember going to see the Packers in Pittsburgh, and that was Thanksgiving Day, about 3 or 4 years ago. So I was over there to see my sister for Thanksgiving. And by the fourth quarter, I thought I was going to freeze to death, right? Yeah. And that was cold. But Green Bay's different.
different.
I can tell what I had on right now, right? I had my thin thermal socks and then a big pair of thick, like merino wool socks, and then a pair of fleece-lined hiking boots, right?
Yeah.
Then I had long johns. And then
such a guilty pleasure wearing long johns.
Oh, long johns and quilted jeans.
I don't think we talk about long johns enough. You know, you feel great wearing long johns.
We will.
I love wearing long johns.
And then a long sleeve thermal top, and then a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And then
you've layered
my Nitschke top that I'm wearing now. Yeah. And then I went and bought an Arctic fleece, especially for it. An Arctic fleece. And then I bought a parka, which is supposed to be cold rated down to -60. I bought especially a duck down lined parka, right? And two pairs of gloves.
The person in the row behind you say duck down.
Come on,
mate. Come on.
There was no one behind me. There was a.
That's why he didn't have to duck down.
And I was cold. I was cold.
Brutal.
And the bloke behind me, Matt, one of the boys, he was hilarious. All he could see by the sort of third quarter, his scarf was so high and his hat was pulled so low.
Yeah.
There was this tiny little slit he was looking out of. Well, this I'm drinking from right now. This is inspired, by the way, Packers, right? Take a leaf from this.
Okay.
So for an extra couple of bucks, you get these insulated cups over there, right? Because you can't really drink from your beer would be frozen. You can have this with a beer, and if you really want it.
So your beer would freeze.
Oh yeah, well it's -20, -30, mate.
Yeah.
Everything freezes. Two people died once in a home game.
Well, famously, the famous game is the Ice Bowl, New Year's Eve, 1967, Cowboys Packers, which was the NFC title game?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And New Year's Eve. So it's one of the most famous games in NFL history because the temperature was -15 degrees Fahrenheit and the wind chill factor was -48
Fahrenheit.
Yeah, Fahrenheit.
God.
And they had just invested in an underground heating system and it had broken. And so when they took the covers off the pitch, because it had left moisture on the top of the pitch. And so they took the covers off.
Well, Lombardi wouldn't let them wear gloves.
Yeah, Lombardi.
He wouldn't let the players wear gloves or the quarterback. He said, "This is our home ground. We want the Dallas because they're from a warm weather state. You know, we'll play some mind games."
And the referee couldn't blow the whistle to start the game because if he did, it would freeze to his lips.
Well, he tore his lip. His lip was bleeding, and the blood froze. I think was it Willie Davis who played? Was it Willie Davis, the lineman for the Packers in the 60s? He said, when Lombardi came in and said, no gloves, he's like, he said to the kit, he said to the kit man, he said, have you got any brown gloves? He says, yeah, I got brown gloves. Give me the brown gloves, coach will never know. Oh, man. What a place, mate. That's incredible, tour, right? The tour, you've got to do it. I've been done stadium tours before. This is the real deal, man. Their Hall of Fame, because they're as old as the league. So the Packers Hall of Fame, which is at the stadium, is, it's like the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
The Packers Museum is like the NFL Museum. It's just brilliant. It goes right back to the start,
And that is like the story of the Green Bay Packers and Lambeau Field is kind of about it. Packers history is two great men, isn't it, really? Of Curly Lambeau, who started the Green Bay Packers. The reason the Green Bay Packers happened in Green Bay is because Curly Lambeau made it happen against all the odds. And got them to a state. And then he left and then the team suffered. And that's when they built what is now Lambeau Field. And just after they completed, it was called New City Stadium then, wasn't it, I think? Vince Lombardi took over.
Blue and gold.
Yeah, I'm wearing one now. Look, there you go.
Yeah,
blue and gold. Yeah, that's the throwbacks. And it should be. I mean, again, for those of you that don't know, the team was initially called the Indian Packers because Curly Lambeau worked for a meat packing plant and they sponsored the team. So they were the Indian Packers. Then they were Acme Packers because the company changed its name. So the early photos of Green Bay Packers, they're wearing these shirts that say Acme
I love
Packers.
them shirts.
Incredible.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like,
Well, in those,
it's a good job he wasn't like a fishmonger or something, I guess. I don't know.
They weren't far off.
That is,
But those early days of the NFL, we'll talk about this. We'll do a podcast on the early days. But there were so many small town teams, the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets and the Columbus, whatever, and the Providence Steamroller and all these small town teams. And Green Bay were one of those, and they all went through the hoop, and they all went bust, and they all went. So the Packers early on said, "We'll just issue shares, and we'll let the people buy shares." And they did the share issue, raised enough money to keep the team, afloat. And every time there's been a share issue, they've been voted the worst investment. Those stocks,
yeah,
you never cash those in.
No,
you're just basically giving the money to the team.
So that's so. Yeah, let's explain that briefly. So Green Bay Packers fans, most of them that live in Green Bay are also shareholders in the team.
Yes.
Because every 10 or 15 years or so, when the franchise needs to raise money, they sell off more shares. Supporters buy shares in the team, and then they are shareholders. But what they actually have is a piece of paper that they can put on the wall and say,
which I try to get, but you can't get one if you're not a US citizen. But the thing about the NFL now compared to the NFL then, because of revenue sharing and TV money, you don't make your money on the gates, right? You make your money on the TV deals, and that gets split between the 32 teams, and there's revenue sharing, there's all that sort of stuff. So the Packers are a well-off side. All the sides are well-off sides.
Yeah.
So all that money that they make, the Packers, gets reinvested all the time in the stadium, in Green Bay, in training facilities, fan stuff. There's a field next to Lambeau Field. They've got a full-size field there that you can just go have a run around on with your mates.
That's what it's there for.
That's what it's for.
It's not like a training ground.
You can't book it. You can turn up and have a game of touch football or whatever, but you can't book it out. There's a skating rink, and there's a full-size field, and there's just, as a fan, right, you walk around Green Bay, just the number of statues and the number of, just everywhere, every park bench, there'll be something somewhere all over the place. They put all that money back in. So they tell you this on the tour. You're in the concourse, there's just enormous, super high definition screens everywhere. Right?
Great.
They can't make money. They haven't got an owner. So when there's a surplus, they spend it on the club, right? So when you do,
it's the only not-for-profit organisation in the NFL.
It's mad,
That's what makes it so unique. It is mad.
But it makes you think, Tom. Right? You're a Wolverhampton fan. I live in Cardiff, and there was all the palaver a few years ago when Cardiff changed their kit, and Wolves have got a fairly small market compared to they're a well-supported club with a great history, but they're not gonna challenge realistically to win a Premier League, right? Because of the way the finances work now. Right, but it's different over there, and you just think, why can't all clubs be run like this?
Yeah,
why can't they all be not for profits? Because
when you're trying to match, up, and I often do this with my friends when I'm trying to describe franchises in the NFL. I kind of trying to equate them to a British football team, and so with the Packers, I was thinking about maybe a Liverpool or an Everton or someone like that, but you would have to stick them in the middle of fucking Norfolk or somewhere. That's the thing is that they're the size of and the history of a United or a Liverpool, but you have to stick them in the middle of,
Well, my town where I'm from, right, is about the same size as Green Bay, near enough. And it's a blue collar area built around the docks, built around, about coal ships and meat ships and banana boats and all the other sorts of stuff. It's a docks town. Yeah. Blue collar docks town. It'd be like having the Green Bay Packers in the middle of Barry.
Yeah.
Right. And we've got Barrytown United Football Club. Great, good club. They might get 1,000 people there watching a game at the mighty Jenner Park Stadium. They haven't got a Lambeau Field.
No.
They didn't win 6 NFL championships in 10 years. They're not they're not the Super Bowl trophy named after their coach. They're not the most recognized team probably in the world.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that coach quickly, Bubs, because that's the second person, isn't it? You said there's Curly Lambeau, and then there's Vince Lombardi, and the Super Bowl is played for the Lombardi Trophy. Vince Lombardi, one of the greatest coaches in the history of the NFL,
100%, yeah,
arguably the greatest, won the first 2 Super Bowls,
and won the championships previous to that.
I was going to say, yeah. I mean, there's this thing about,
and it was Super Bowl in all but name.
Before the Super Bowl was the Super Bowl, he did what people have said is impossible to do so far, is the three-peat. The Patriots didn't manage to do it. The Chiefs just failed to do it. Everyone's chasing a three-peat when actually Vince Lombardi did do a three-peat in all but name. But he took over just after Lambeau Field was built. Vince Lombardi came to Green Bay and transformed a team that hadn't had a winning season for about a decade, transformed them into...
They were the
Super Bowl champions.
Probably the worst team in the league.
Yeah.
And then the first year he took them over, they went a 7-7, I think, 500. And then the next year they were in the playoffs. And then winning Super Bowls after Super Bowls. And never looking back.
And so it's kind of like the story of Green Bay Packers and the story of Lambeau Field is the story of those two men, really. That's what makes Green Bay Packers.
Well, Green Bay Packers. Such a nice photograph. When you walk out there and there's Vince in the sort of, in the fedora with the trench coat on. Just this massive bronze statue. Oh my God, that's cool. Oh, I say this for Americans, they don't piss about when it comes to statues, do they? There's no. You walk around Cardiff, where I'm from, and we're a rugby town, right? There's one statue of one player, Gareth Edwards, arguably the best rugby player of all time, right? Who's got a statue approximately life size, maybe a little bit more than life size, but it's like outside Card World in a shopping centre. There's one other statue outside the National Stadium of a fellow called Tasker Watkins, who was a nice bloke. I met him. He was a Victoria Cross winner. He's a bit of a war hero, but never played rugby in his life. But he was like the main man in the Welsh Rugby Union Committee. So they built a statue to him.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's the only statue there.
Yeah.
At Pittsburgh, you walk around Pittsburgh, there's statues everywhere. You walk around Green Bay, there's statues everywhere.
Yeah.
There's such pride in it. There's and they never, I know it sounds cliche, but when you do the tour, so the guide is a huge Packers fan, right? And he's saying about, I was lucky, I only had to wait 43 years for my season ticket.
Whoa.
And he's an ex-high school coach. He was great company, right? Great. Showing you around. You get on the roof. They show you the G that you see. So that is the largest G in the world. I mean, that's a niche subject. No one knows what the second largest G is, by the way.
Can't find it. I keep looking.
Well, there's a section there, mate. You say about the season ticket holders, right? And the shareholders. Every year, I think it's 200 people. 200 people are random. Season ticket holders are selected. And then you've got the best seats in the house, mate. So inside the stadium, on the halfway line, there's this block of 200 seats overlooking the 50-yard line, essentially, right? But indoors.
Yeah.
In a concourse with amazing bars and amazing food. Yeah. And for that season, if your name comes up in that lottery, you and a guest can go to every home game there.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, my God. That is something else.
So it just pimps your ticket for a season? Do you win the lottery?
Yeah. It's just this is you for the season. Bring a guest with you. Help yourself to the free bar and the food.
There are two other things I want to cover about Lambeau Field before we put a bow on it. And one is, two traditions that are linked to Lambeau. So one is one of my favorite things, which is when training starts.
Oh yeah.
The training field is slightly down the road from the stadium, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so every day of training camp, all the kids from the local community wait outside the stadium with their bikes.
Yeah. And
when the players emerge, each player chooses a bike and they ride the kids' bikes to training.
And that kid becomes your mate then, you know what I mean?
And then you hang out with that kid, like as you walk to training every day, you ride their bike. It's amazing. And it makes for some of
I'd see
the
like
best
a 6'9", some 6'9" bloke on like a rally chopper.
Yeah, on like a tricycle and stuff with this little like 5-year-old girl walking beside him. So definitely, we'll try and stick a couple of those up as well with other links here, but definitely Google that because it's unique to the Packers. And again, it just started when Lambeau Field was built, 57, 58, and then a kid was down there with a bike and offered it to a player and off they went, and it's just grown from there. So again, it's something that's just grown organically, but really symbolizes the kind of the community relationship with the team. And, I think that is what Lambeau Field really represents because
I
look at all
the
the
NFL, right?
Yeah, go on.
Like I mentioned the Raiders. I love the Raiders, the franchise, but they are a franchise, and that's the nature of the league. They've been the Oakland Raiders twice, the LA Raiders twice, and now they're the Las Vegas Raiders, right? And that's just the way it works. But some British people can't stand that. That's part and parcel of the sport.
It's ugly calling them franchises instead of clubs, isn't it? I think that's what like a lot of it
was hard for us to wrap our head around
at that. Yeah,
but for Packers, they're never going to move. They can't. They're owned by Green Bay.
Yeah.
So it is their club. When they say our club, they mean it, and you'll see the guys and the women in the crowd with owner on the t-shirt.
Nice, right? Really nice.
So they're an owner.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate, go on. There was a
and that's the other thing I was going to say. Anyway, is that they've it's for that reason that Lambeau Field will always be Lambeau Field, and like every other stadium around the league is called your fucking
look at what Allegiant Stadium or whatever.
Yeah, they sell the rights because they raise the money. I mean, the one for me is it Pittsburgh who've just sold. They used to be Heinz. It was Heinz Field.
Yeah,
and now it's Acrisure or something.
Yeah,
and it's like that will never happen to Lambeau Field. It will always be Lambeau.
Yeah. Well, they said they could have gone up another level and made it even bigger, but they said this is what we like. We want this size stadium. Look after the fans. Yeah. But
amazing.
The original part. So when you drop down at ground level and below, where the original hole would have been, they're not. And thinking how cold it gets. Like we were on plastic seats, right? Fairly standard. When you get down to those bleachers at ground level and below, they're like aluminium. You're sat on a metal strip.
It's mental. It's mental. What do you want to sit on when it's -20? I'll have a metal seat, please.
And there'd be some lunatic there. There was a movie there with their top off, chugging beer. You think, mate?
Oh yeah, there you go. Got to do it. Got to do it. You should just say bleachers as well for any British people who are confused by that. But it is basically just a metal bench, isn't it?
Yeah.
They aren't seats. It's just old bench.
They used to get bleached in the sunshine. They call them bleachers. That's why they're bleachers.
That's why they call them bleachers, pubs. I didn't know that.
There were stands that were covered, and then out there there were uncovered benches called bleachers because they would bleach in the sunshine.
Oh, I love it.
In the baseball days,
That is my big takeaway from this chat.
But you know what made the day of it? I know Thanksgiving sort of added another level to it, but when the Crown Royal truck turns up and there's music going on everywhere, there's different tailgates, people come from all over the place. Like I said, there's lots of people second team. Loads of Miami people came up for the game. It was just a fantastic atmosphere. Like I thought, you don't get the flight pass because it's a nighttime kickoff. But when the fireworks start going off, and they came onto the field, I was like, oh my god, it was a life highlight. It was just fantastic. We're going, mate. I will be the same.
Yeah, for work.
The mates of mine who know much of the Packers wanted to see my face, right? And that's why they took that little video, right? When we go to the Lambeau, I just want to see your face.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll love it.
The final thing I wanted to cover, I wanted to ask you as well, is when you were there, did you witness in the flesh a Lambeau Leap?
I did. Yeah, I saw Lombardi.
Because that is something that is synonymous with Lambeau Field as well, is the tradition of a Lambeau Leap, which is very simply the player that scores a touchdown runs up and jumps into the first row. I do. It was Leroy Butler.
Leroy Butler, was it? Oh, fair play.
Yeah. Reggie White recovered a fumble and then lateraled it back to Leroy Butler.
You wouldn't want Reggie White landing on you.
I know, exactly. But my favourite thing, what I wanted to say, like the thing about the Lambeau Leap is they make it look fucking. It actually looks quite hard for them as well because they run and then they jump. And there's some of them, it's a 7-foot wall. I mean, like the pressure. I would do the
Lambeau lean if I played there.
The pressure of trying to have to get up that fucker. It'd end my season.
You come down. I'd have a Lambeau meet and greet in the back of the end.
just the Lambeau salute and off I go.
Well, they love tradition, right? Everything in there is tradition. Like I said, the Hall of Fame thing's worth doing. The museum bit's brilliant. Even in the sort of concourse, which is fantastic, right? Great bars, great food. Great. You look at the floor and you realise there's lines on it, like football lines and numbers.
Yeah. So
they said, well, they turned the field basically 90 degrees, or they moved the field. So the lines here correspond to if you're stood on the 40-yard line in the concourse and you keep walking along that line, you end up on the 40-yard line of the pitch.
Oh, lovely.
So just little things like that. You know, everything's just yeah.
And
mate, I just want to go back now.
we need to. We have to. We need to do an episode next series live from Lambeau.
Oh, cute.
And that way we can square it away with our partners.
Yeah.
Just quickly talking about the food. Was there any kind of, because obviously Packers fans are known as cheeseheads. They wear big blocks of cheese, which is kind of weird. They're named after a meat packing company that they're not called meatheads. It's probably for the best, but it's because it's a dairy. It's a dairy producing.
It's the dairy state
region, isn't it? Yeah, this dairy state.
Yeah.
So that's why they're called cheeseheads. It's why if you see a fan with a big block of cheese on their head, they're called cheeseheads.
Did you buy yourself a light aircraft crash about 15, 20 years ago after a Packers game, and they both survived because they were wearing cheeseheads?
No, I love it.
True story.
I love it.
Look it up.
Now, when I was at the Packers game with you at the Spurs ground, you said that's the step that you're not prepared to take. Is to
I've got
your
one.
line in the sun.
I own one.
Okay,
in my bar,
but it's not going on.
It's not going on my head.
Not today of all days. Not after you've been to the barbers.
No way. I just spent 15 quid on this.
So you bought yourself a cheesehead, but you never wore it.
It was given to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was given to me.
And is it because they look a bit silly?
Yeah, they're daft. I mean, let's be honest. An adult shouldn't be wearing that. Whenever I see that fellow at the Raiders games who's completely made up with the silver shoulder pads on, the spikes everywhere, I think, it looks cool, mate. But you shouldn't be doing it.
You're 47. Come on, mate.
It counts, mate. What are you doing? You're not a barbarian raider. Fucking yeah, I'm not wearing a cheesehead. But if you want to wear a cheesehead, you crack on. Put a cheesehead on.
Oh yeah, if it makes you happy, do
I'll go top to toe, Packers, everything out. I bought a lovely jacket over there. The shop is, oh my God, Tom. Don't go in that Packers shop.
Yeah, I feel myself in the shop.
I had to give myself a limit because I bought a reversible Packers bomber jacket, which is green satin with Packers on the outside, and you flip it and it's yellow with the original Packers logo on it. I thought, oh my God.
Well, I'm such a sucker for shirts. The amount of Packers shirts I've got, and I was watching a game with my mate, and he said you should go to Lambeau Field, and I was like, I just don't think it's quite a lot of money, really. He said, how many shirts have you bought? I was like, actually, I do think I've had a trip to Lambeau's worth of shirts.
The flight to Chicago wasn't extortionate, and then we chartered a coach. But there's other ways to get up there. You can do an internal flight. It's not very expensive. The hardest bit is getting the tickets.
Well, we'll sort something out.
We'll go to I'm not getting paid by Anduzzi's, by the way, but we'll go in there because we'll have a right laugh and we'll have one of those massive Bloody Marys.
Okay, well, look, have you got any Lambeau experiences? Have you got any Green Bay tips for us? Are you a local from Green Bay? Have you been to Green Bay? Listeners, get in touch, do your thing, get on that speak.
Oh, my mate Christine. If you're listening, Christine and her husband came over a couple of years ago, heard that I was a Packers fan. I did a little thing online for BBC Wales. They had a family in Wales. They're both from Green Bay, huge Packers fans. she brought me a framed Lambeau Field print for my, which is downstairs
beautiful.
in the bar. And then I got there, I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll ring Christine, right? Because I had her number. Not thinking I've been on the beers all day. I'm a bit pumped. I'm ready to go. I wasn't pissed, but I was having a good time.
Oh, yeah.
I'll ring Christine. She wants to come out for a beer afterwards. It was Thanksgiving Day, wasn't it?
Of course.
So it'd be the equivalent, like you sat down with your family for like Christmas dinner, and some mad American phones you up, says, "Come out for a couple of beers." You're like, well, I can't now, mate. No. So if you're listening, Christine, I do apologise, but next time I come over, it won't be Thanksgiving.
Well, do get in touch. And also, if you think there is another stadium that deserves the treatment that we've given to Lambeau, and you're thinking we're showing a bit of bias here because we're Green Bay fans, then let us know what are the stadiums that deserve
I've got to
our
say,
attention.
very quickly.
Yeah.
On that Chicago trip, we went down to Soldier Field. As a Packers fan, they're obviously the big NFC rivals. That's a stunning piece of work. That place.
I was going to say, I know there's a big rivalry, but as an outsider, the Bears, yeah, exactly, fair play. So maybe we'll look at Soldier Field one day for balance. But also, if have you got a team and you think we should cover a certain aspect of that team? Let us know.
Yeah,
personalities, players, events, fans,
coaches,
something, and play, anything.
It could be a play. It could be a play.
Let's deep dive on it. Great. The season's here. We're back. Oh, I'm pumped we're back doing this.
Yes, me too. Everyone, enjoy the season. Spread the gospel of the NFL. Spread the gospel of Any Given Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll be back next week with a new franchise and a new topic. Until then, over and out.
Take care.